Suddenly, an idea struck Alex. What if I could use this to get home? He thought, feeling a rush of excitement. He had seen enough science fiction movies to know that control panels could lead to spaceships taking off. Maybe he could find a way to steer the ship back to Earth. "Sulk!" Alex exclaimed, turning to his friend. "What if we could make a plan to escape?" Zog's eyes widened in understanding, and he nodded eagerly, his enthusiasm matching Alex's. Together, they began to explore the room, looking for anything that could help them. As they inspected the control panels, Alex noticed that some buttons glowed different colors. "What do you think these do?" he asked, pressing a few. The ship rumbled slightly, and a nearby screen lit up with a map of the galaxy. "Whoa! Look at this!" he shouted, his heart racing. The map showed various planets, and Alex pointed to one that looked familiar. "That's Earth. I think we can go there!" Zog watched curiously, excited by Alex's energy. They continued to study the screens, trying to make sense of the alien technology. Over the next few days, Alex and Zog worked together to form their escape plan. They spent hours in the control room, learning how to press buttons and navigate the ship's systems. Alex pretended to be a pilot, acting out the motions of flying a spaceship. Zog, being a quick learner, picked up on Alex's actions, mimicking him perfectly. As their friendship deepened, Alex learned more about Zog. He discovered that Zog had a fascination with humans and wanted to understand them better. In return, Alex shared stories about Earth, the parks, the animals, and even his favorite foods. Zog was captivated by the idea of eating pizza and playing outside. Finally, the day arrived when they felt ready to put their plan into action. Alex stood in front of the control panel, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and fear. "Okay, Zog, we have to do this quickly. If we're caught, we might never get home." Zog nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. They had decided to wait until the ship was at a low point in orbit around a nearby planet. The aliens were busy preparing for another expedition, so Alex figured they wouldn't pay attention to the control room. Alex took a deep breath and began to press the buttons he had learned about. The ship trembled again and the lights flickered. "Is it working?" Zog asked, eyes wide with anticipation. "I think so," Alex replied, his fingers flying over the buttons. He focused on the screen, trying to align their course with Earth. Just as they were about to engage the ship's engines, the door swung open, and the alien leader entered the room. "What are you doing?" it demanded, its voice deep and echoing. Alex's heart sank. They had been caught. Thinking quickly, Alex grabbed a nearby tool, pretending to fix something on the panel. We were just checking the systems," he said, trying to sound casual. The alien leader looked suspicious, but didn't seem to understand what they were really planning. Zog, seeing the leader's confusion, joined in, gesturing as if everything was perfectly normal. All good," he said, mimicking Alex's voice. The leader, still watching them closely, seemed to soften slightly, though Alex knew they had to act fast. As the leader turned away, Alex felt a wave of relief. "We have to go now," he whispered urgently to Zog. With a nod, they quickly returned to their plan, determined to escape before it was too late. The adventure was about to reach its thrilling climax, and they were ready to take flight. Alex's heart raced as he and Zog prepared for the escape. The alien leader had walked away, but they knew they had little time. "Let's do this," Alex whispered, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. He quickly turned back to the control panel, his fingers trembling over the buttons. "Zog, remember what we practiced," Alex said, trying to keep his voice steady. Zog nodded eagerly, his bright eyes shining with determination. Together, they worked quickly, pressing the glowing buttons that Alex had learned about. The ship trembled again as the engines began to hum to life. "It's working," Alex shouted, his voice filled with exhilaration. But their joy was short-lived. Just then, alarms blared throughout the ship, filling the air with loud, shrill sounds. Red lights flashed, casting an eerie glow in the control room. "Uh-oh, we must have triggered something," Zog cried, looking around in panic. Alex's mind raced. "We need to move now," he urged, grabbing Zog's hand. They dashed toward the door, pushing it open and sprinting down the narrow hallway. As they ran, Alex could hear the sounds of the alien crew reacting to the alarms. "They're coming!" he yelled. "We have to hurry!" Zog kept up with him, his small legs moving fast. They raced through the corridors, the walls glowing with bright colors, making it easy to navigate. "We need to get to the hangar," Alex shouted, remembering a large area where the smaller ships were stored. "That's our best chance," Zog nodded, his determination clear. They turned a corner and skidded to a stop in front of a massive door. "Is this it?" Zog asked, panting heavily. "Yes! This is the hangar!" Alex replied, looking up at the huge door. But there was one problem. The door was locked. "Oh no!" Alex exclaimed, pounding on the panel. "How do we get in?" Zog quickly joined him, pressing buttons in a flurry. The alarm continued to blare, and they could hear footsteps approaching. "We need to think fast," Alex said, glancing back down the hallway. "There's no time." Just then, Zog spotted a small control panel next to the door. "What about this?" he asked, pointing. "Maybe it will help." Alex's eyes lit up. "Good idea. Let's try it." They hurried to the panel, and Alex pressed a few buttons. Come on, he urged, his heart racing. Suddenly, the door creaked open, revealing a dark hangar filled with small alien ships. "We did it!" Zog cheered, and they dashed inside. Inside the hangar, the ships looked like colorful spaceships straight out of a dream. Alex ran to the nearest one, its bright blue exterior gleaming under the lights. "This one looks good," he said, hopping inside. Zog quickly followed, his eyes wide with wonder. "Now what do we do?" Zog asked, looking around the cockpit filled with strange controls. "Let's get it started," Alex replied, his fingers flying over the buttons. He remembered the basic layout from watching the aliens, and he began pressing the glowing controls. The ship shook slightly as the engines powered up. "I think it's working," Alex shouted, feeling a rush of excitement. But just then they heard footsteps approaching the hangar. "They're coming," Zog warned, his voice shaking. Alex glanced back and saw several aliens running toward them, shouting in their strange language. "We have to go now," he yelled, frantically pressing buttons. The ship rumbled as it prepared for takeoff. "Take off! Take off!" Zog cried, his eyes wide with fear. Just as the aliens reached the ship, Alex pressed one last button. The engines roared to life and the ship lifted off the ground. They soared into the air, leaving the hangar behind. The stars sparkled outside the windows as they sped away from the alien ship. "We did it! We're free!" Alex shouted, laughing with joy. But their celebration was short-lived. Alarms blared inside their ship and warning lights flashed. "What's happening?" Zog shouted, panic in his voice. "They're trying to track us," Alex replied, glancing at the controls. He quickly began pressing buttons to increase their speed. "Hold on tight," he warned. With a burst of speed, the ship shot forward, navigating through the colorful asteroids and space debris. The view was breathtaking, but they had no time to enjoy it. They needed to escape the aliens' grasp for good. "Where do we go now?" Zog asked, his voice trembling. "We have to head toward Earth," Alex replied, looking at the star map on the screen. "It's our only chance." With newfound determination, they set their course for home, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead in their thrilling escape through the stars. As the ship sped through the vastness of space, Alex felt a mix of joy and nervousness. They were finally on their way back to Earth. Zog sat next to him, eyes wide with excitement and wonder. "Look at all the stars!" Zog exclaimed, pointing at the sparkling lights outside. "It's so beautiful." "Yes, it is," Alex replied, a smile spreading across his face. "But we need to focus. We're not out of danger yet." He glanced at the control panel where the warning lights still flashed, reminding him that the aliens were tracking them. "We need to keep moving fast." "Right! Let's go!" Zog shouted, bouncing in his seat. Alex gripped the controls tighter, adjusting their course toward Earth. He felt a surge of determination. He couldn't wait to be home to see his family again. They flew through the stars, the ship humming with energy. Alex pressed buttons and navigated the controls, steering them through asteroid fields and around colorful planets. The thrill of adventure filled the air as they soared past vibrant colors and swirling gases in space. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. Alarms blared and Alex's heart raced. "What's happening?" Zog cried, gripping the edge of his seat. "They found us!" Alex shouted, frantically looking at the screens. He could see small alien ships approaching from behind, their engines roaring as they closed in on them. "Go faster!" Zog urged, panic in his voice. Alex pressed down on the throttle, pushing the ship to its limits. The engines roared and they shot forward, dodging laser blasts that illuminated the dark void around them. "Hang on!" Alex yelled, maneuvering the ship sharply to the left. The alien ships followed, but Alex was determined not to let them catch up. He remembered the tricks he had seen in the movies, using asteroids as cover to lose their pursuers. "Over there! Behind that asteroid!" Zog pointed, his eyes shining with excitement. Alex grinned and steered the ship toward the massive rock. They zipped behind it just as the alien ships fired again, their lasers missing by inches. "Good thinking, Zog," Alex said, feeling a rush of adrenaline. They watched as the alien ships flew past them, not realizing they had hidden. "Now's our chance," Alex whispered, preparing to move out from behind the asteroid. As they emerged, Alex took a moment to breathe. "We have to head toward the nearest planet that's safe for landing," he said, checking the star map. "Earth is getting closer, but we need to throw them off our trail." Zog nodded, his eyes darting around the controls. "What should we do?" he asked, his voice steady now. "We should try to create a distraction," Alex suggested. "If we can make them think we're going somewhere else, we might buy some time." He quickly scanned the map and spotted a nearby planet filled with colorful clouds and vibrant landscapes. "How about that one? It looks like a good place to hide," Zog pointed. "Yes! Let's go there," Alex replied, changing their course toward the planet. As they approached, the alien ships were still searching for them, scanning the stars. Alex took a deep breath and prepared to land. "This is it," he said, excitement bubbling in his chest. The planet looked beautiful from above, with swirling colors and lush greenery. With a steady hand, Alex guided the ship down to a clearing. The engines sputtered as they landed softly on the soft ground. "We did it!" Zog cheered, jumping up and down. "We're safe for now." But Alex knew they couldn't stay for long. "We need to figure out how to get back to Earth without being detected," he said, glancing at the controls. "Let's hide the ship and scout the area." They quickly moved around the ship, covering it with leaves and branches to camouflage it from any searching eyes. Once they finished, they ventured out into the vibrant landscape, feeling the warm breeze on their faces. "Look at all the plants," Zog exclaimed, touching the colorful flowers. "Everything is so alive," Alex smiled, appreciating the beauty around them. But he kept his mind focused. "We need to find a way to contact Earth," he reminded Zog. They explored the area, searching for anything that could help. Suddenly, they stumbled upon a group of strange creatures. They looked friendly, with big eyes and soft fur. Alex approached cautiously. "Do you think they can help us?" he asked Zog. Zog nodded, his eyes wide with curiosity. "Let's try." They carefully approached the creatures, who watched them with interest. "Hello!" Alex called out, hoping they would understand. To their surprise, the creatures responded with gentle chirps and gestures. They seemed to be welcoming. Alex and Zog exchanged glances, realizing they might have found allies in this strange land. "Maybe they can help us find a way back to Earth," Alex thought, feeling hopeful. With newfound determination, they began to communicate with the friendly creatures, excited about the possibilities that lay ahead. They were one step closer to returning home, ready to embrace the next adventure together. In a quiet town on Earth, the sun was setting, painting the sky in beautiful shades of orange and pink. The sounds of laughter filled the air as children played outside, enjoying the last moments of daylight. Among them was a cheerful boy named Alex. He was 10 years old and full of energy, always eager for adventure. His backyard was his kingdom, where he imagined himself as a brave knight battling dragons and exploring distant lands. On this particular evening, Alex was playing with his favorite toy spaceship. He loved pretending to be a pilot, flying to faraway galaxies. He would often shout, "Blast off!" as he zoomed through the imaginary stars. His parents watched him from the kitchen window, smiling at their son's joyful spirit. As the sun disappeared and darkness began to settle in, Alex decided to take one last trip into space. He lay on the grass, staring up at the stars twinkling in the night sky. "I wonder if there are aliens out there," he thought, dreaming of the exciting adventures he could have. Little did he know, his wish was about to come true in a way he never expected. Suddenly, a bright light appeared in the sky, shining directly above him. It was so bright that Alex had to cover his eyes. Curious, he sat up and looked around. The light grew larger and larger, and Alex felt a strange feeling in his stomach. "What is that?" he whispered to himself, his heart racing with excitement and fear. Before he could run back inside, the light engulfed him. In a blink, Alex felt himself being lifted off the ground. He gasped as he floated upwards, leaving his backyard behind. The last thing he saw was his parents running outside, looking up at the sky with fear in their eyes. They shouted his name, but it was too late. He was being taken into the unknown. Inside the bright light, Alex found himself in a strange room filled with unusual sounds and colors. He blinked, trying to adjust to the new surroundings. It was nothing like his backyard. There were gadgets buzzing, lights flashing, and a faint smell that was unlike anything he had ever experienced. Panic set in, but Alex quickly reminded himself that he was brave. He was an adventurer. As he looked around, Alex noticed he wasn't alone. Strange creatures with big eyes and colorful skin were staring at him. They were small and had 3 arms, each ending in long, thin fingers. Their skin shimmered in shades of green and blue, and their eyes were wide with curiosity. Alex blinked in surprise. Aliens, he thought, feeling both scared and excited. The aliens began to chatter among themselves in a language Alex couldn't understand. They pointed at him, their eyes growing even wider. Alex felt like a strange animal in a zoo, being observed by curious spectators. He took a deep breath and stood tall. "I'm not afraid," he said, even though his voice trembled slightly. One of the aliens, taller than the others with bright yellow skin, stepped forward. It tilted its head and made a sound that resembled a mix between a growl and a whistle. Alex took a step back, but then remembered his favorite space adventures. He had to be brave like the heroes he admired. "I'm Alex," he shouted, trying to show them he was friendly. The aliens paused, looking at each other in confusion. They didn't understand him, but they seemed to be intrigued by his spirit. The yellow alien reached out a hand, gently touching Alex's shoulder. It felt warm and oddly comforting. Alex looked into its big, round eyes and sensed a mixture of curiosity and kindness. Maybe these aliens were not so scary after all. As the aliens began to examine Alex, he realized they had no idea who he really was. They didn't know that he was just a human boy from Earth, full of dreams and adventures. All they saw was a new creature to study, unaware of the incredible journey they were about to embark on together. With a newfound determination, Alex decided he would not let fear control him. He would find a way to escape and show these aliens what it truly meant to be human. The adventure had just begun, and he was ready to take on whatever came next. When Alex opened his eyes, he was no longer in the bright light. Instead, he found himself in a strange room filled with blinking lights and unfamiliar sounds. The walls were smooth and shiny, and everything around him glowed with colorful lights. He rubbed his eyes, trying to understand where he was. Suddenly, the memory of the aliens came flooding back. I must be on their ship, he thought, feeling a mix of excitement and fear. He looked around, trying to find a way out. But before he could move, the door slid open with a soft hiss, and several aliens entered the room. The same yellow alien from before was there, along with others that looked different but were just as strange. One had bright blue skin and enormous eyes that sparkled with curiosity. Another was shorter, with pink skin and a tiny mouth that seemed to grin at Alex. They all stared at him, their expressions a mix of wonder and confusion. "Hello?" Alex said, hoping they would understand him. The aliens exchanged glances, and the yellow alien stepped forward. It made a series of sounds which Alex couldn't quite comprehend, but it sounded friendly. Alex realized that they were trying to communicate, but their language was completely different. They pointed at him, then at themselves, making strange gestures. Alex watched closely, noticing how they mimicked his actions. Inspired, he decided to play along. "Okay," he said, and pretended to fly his toy spaceship again, making whooshing sounds. The aliens were fascinated. They moved around excitedly, their eyes wide with wonder. They seemed to be enjoying his little performance. After a while, they started to copy him. One of them pretended to be the spaceship, while another acted like a pilot, mimicking Alex's sounds. Alex couldn't help but laugh. "You're all great at this," he cheered, feeling a sense of joy amidst the strangeness. The aliens quickly grew more comfortable around him. They showed Alex their world. The ship was enormous, filled with strange rooms and fascinating technology. Each room had different purposes. One room was a place where they stored colorful liquids which the aliens said were their food. Another room had screens showing stars and planets, making Alex's heart race with excitement. "Can I see that?" he asked, pointing at one of the screens. The aliens nodded and let him approach. When he got closer, he could see amazing images of colorful planets and swirling galaxies. "Wow!" he exclaimed, eyes shining. "This is incredible!" The aliens watched him closely, seemingly impressed by his reaction. They pointed to different planets, and Alex, filled with wonder, tried to guess what each one was like. He imagined riding a space bike on a neon planet or exploring a world made entirely of candy. Days passed, and Alex began to adapt to life on the ship. He learned to understand some of the aliens' gestures and sounds, even if he still couldn't speak their language. They treated him like family, and he started to enjoy their company. They played games together, which often ended in fits of laughter. One day, as they were playing, Alex noticed the aliens had brought out some strange, colorful food. It looked unlike anything he had seen before. "What is this?" he asked, pointing to a glowing fruit. The aliens grinned and gestured for him to try it. Taking a cautious bite, Alex was surprised to find it tasted sweet and tangy, like a mix of his favorite fruits. "This is amazing," he said, grinning. The aliens cheered, happy that he liked their food. In that moment, Alex realized that even though he missed Earth, he was making new friends in the most unexpected place. As he grew closer to the aliens, Alex felt a strange connection with them. They were not just strange creatures. They were beings with their own stories, fears, and hopes. They had captured him out of curiosity, but now they were sharing their world with him. However, Alex knew he couldn't stay forever. Deep down, he wanted to return home to his family. He started to think about how he could escape, but for now he chose to enjoy this adventure and cherish the friendships he was building among the stars. Life on the ship was strange, but it was also exciting and full of possibilities. Life on the alien ship was a strange mix of fun and worry for Alex. He had made many friends among the colorful aliens, but deep down, he still missed his family and home on Earth. Each day was filled with laughter and games, but at night, he would gaze out at the stars, longing to return to his backyard. One day, as Alex and his alien friends played their favorite game, an exciting version of tag, they stumbled upon a room that Alex had never seen before. The door slid open, revealing a dark space filled with strange machines and glowing screens. His eyes widened in awe. "What is this place?" he whispered, stepping inside. The yellow alien, who Alex had named Zog, followed him. "This is control room," Zog said, using the simple gestures they had developed to communicate. Alex watched as Zog pointed to various screens, showing images of planets, stars, and strange symbols that made no sense to him.